Hello and welcome to another episode of the Men of Zen, an animation research podcast. My name is Brent.
And I'm Phil, and I'm turned on by this anime.
Oh, God, put it away. Listen to that. Okay, so boys and girls of all ages, get the fuck out, because that is not how this is going to work today. This is one of those, like, you did, like, 18 and up only.
I say 16 and
up only. Well, you were horribly raised as a child.
I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I'm telling you, when I first watched this anime,
you were exposed to this way too early, and that shows.
What are you trying to say here, Brent?
I'm trying to say a lot of shit, because we're talking about Highschool DxD. What the fuck?
I'm sorry, Highschool DxD?
No, it's DD.
What?
You don't remember this from anything? Hunter x Hunter? You don't say the X. It's Hunter x Hunter. Same thing with this.
I've never heard of anyone ever using
That's because they say it wrong.
Every person in the whole world?
Yeah, that's why when people say Hunter x Hunter, that's wrong. It's not high school, it's Hunter x Hunter. Same thing with this. It's not Highschool DxD. The X is there for like stylization. It's Highschool DD. It's Highschool Double D.
I was going to say, is you telling me this Highschool Double D?
Yeah, it's Highschool Double D.
Well, you know what?
Look that shit up.
That is the perfect definition of some of the characters in this anime, specifically Rias and Akeno.
Oh my god. Like, I have watched this anime before. And
long time ago with me, actually, I think.
Yeah. And, so this is, okay, first and foremost, this is...
Tell him, Brent.
This anime it's not an H anime, not yet. It's close.
It's not hentai.
It's not hentai, but you could, like, call it... No,
It's an anime based off a very erotic light novel series, or what some people might call doujinshi. But no sex happens. Let's be straightforward. There's no sex.
No, there's no sex. But I mean, this show shows a shit ton of nudity. All of the nudity.
If we were to play a drinking game, Brent, where every time you saw a pair of titties or a titty on screen,
I would last one episode.
I would say you would last half an episode.
Probably. Like, that's...
I know your alcohol consumption level.
You could also probably just call this show Titties, the anime.
High school titty. High school titty x titty.
You know, why is it even saying high school in there? That alone is like...
I mean, they are in high school, technically.
I never really like thought about that until like just now. I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be high school. Why are they naked?
Well, I mean, when you think about it, some of these characters are older than like they appear.
Well,
but
that is true. Okay, so they are otherworldly buildings.
They're built
big
different.
As buildings. They're as big as buildings. They are otherworldly beings. God, like you said, Rias Gremory. She
was my waifu in high school.
Yeah, she's a lot of people's waifus. Like, especially Issei. Like he's got the thirst.
But hey, Akeno, she's not too bad either.
No,
she's very okay. Hey, remember our previous co-host Aiden? Shout out to that guy.
Shout out.
He has one of his most prized possessions is an Akeno statue that he got at Anime Iowa, and it's her in a bikini with her wings out. Yep. But for some reason, the boobs on the statue, they bounce.
Yep.
that is the thing about this statue. And it's a very nice statue, don't get me wrong. It's very detailed, obviously, but like $200 he paid for this statue.
Oh my god.
And that's the main thing about the statue.
He could have got it cheaper on Temu.
Hey guys, have you checked out Temu yet? This is not a sponsorship, but we've been getting a lot of cool anime stuff from Temu lately.
Holy shit. Like I got in, I got my free shit, and then I dipped.
Lucky. I've spent like about $100 so far on Temu, but I'm done buying things. So I think I got a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah, I spent $25, but I got like fucking almost 20 different like anime statue figures. Like my shelf is filled. Holy fuck, like I don't know if I could actually fit any more on there than I want. But hey, shout out Temu, thank you for the free like $400 and shit. I appreciate it. I didn't get that Switch, and that's pretty damn disappointing.
Damn, man.
Y'all play a hard game. I see what you're fucking doing.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, you need 100 energy. Now we're gonna give you 98 energy. All you need is 2 more energy. You get 5 points for each new person that you can get to subscribe. It says up to 5. So your first one, they're like, oh, hell yeah, you got 5 energy. You just need like 1 more. Oh, but the next one's worth like 0.4. Oh, this one's worth 0.3. This one's worth 0.2.
That's how
this one's worth 0.1. This one's worth 0.1. And you have 24 hours to do it. I literally ran out of people. I was at work pulling people aside going, hey, do you have Temu? And they're like, oh yeah, I already have it. I'm like, fuck, you don't count. All right.
Yeah, my girlfriend refused to download it for me. My her brother-in-law refused to download it for me. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Man, that shows who your true friends are right there. that is honestly the truest form of like the friendship test. Like if you can't even just download an app and click 3 things for me to get some cool shit, nope.
How dare you guys?
How dare? Anyway, yeah.
Let's get back to the let's get back to the titties. Amy in the anime.
Back to the titties. So Highschool DxD. So the Hepburn for this is Highschool DxD, right?
I'm still gonna call it Highschool DxD.
You can, but it's wrong.
That's
You're DX wrong. It was a Japanese light novel series originally written by Ichiei Ishibumi and illustrated by Miyama Zero. There's not a whole lot known about this person. Born April 25th, 1981, Ishibumi is a Japanese novelist best known for his light novel series Highschool DxD. In 2005, Ishibumi received a special prize in the 17th Fantasia Awards hosted by Fujimi Shobo for the light novel Denpachi that he submitted. He made his debut with the novel when it was published in 2006 as a tankobon. The same year, he published the second light novel Slash Dog, or Slash Dog, the slanty thing.
Yeah.
The forward
slash dog.
/ dog. 2 years later, in 2008, he began publishing a light novel series, Highschool DxD, with 25 volumes published, as well as an additional 4 volumes of a sequel series, Shin Highschool DxD. The series has been adapted into multiple manga and anime television series. While preparing the light novel series, his father unfortunately died.
Oh no!
Right? It's a sad story there. Where?
That's lame.
Yeah, I couldn't find like what his father like died of, but again, Japanese artists and illustrators and writers and their private life tends to remain very private.
Man.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I'm also looking up his a lot of his information right now because someone told me. Okay, yep, I think that's what someone mentioned in the comments that the author had passed away, but I think it is his father that they were talking about passed away, not him personally. Which okay, thank God, because oh my God, did you know his nickname was the God of Breasts?
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, it says right here, nicknames, the God of Breasts.
I'm not surprised at all. No, he was just the writer for this show, though. He wasn't the illustrator.
True, but for a fact he was talking to the illustrator Miyama Zero and like, hey, I need you to think about big boobs, but I need you to think bigger.
Like, I know what you're thinking, but bigger. And like, could you imagine like it would just be like, and then Rias Grimmery comes in. Her big boobs.
Her big boobs come
emphasis
in like
on big
a whole
boobs.
3 seconds before she comes into the room.
There's going to be a whole fucking like subsection of now focus on boobs. Or boobs come in from side screen left.
Oh my God. I promise we're adults here.
Are we?
We try to be. I was told by my coworker that I remind her of like a 17-year-old, and I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, that's what I said. Once I hit like 17, 18, I was like, I'm never growing up. And guess what? I haven't grown up at all. My body's gotten old and decayed and died, but
I have the heart of a 17-year-old, but the legs of a 90-year-old. Miyama Zero, the illustrator, is the pen name of a Japanese illustrator and artist. Their gender is unknown. So we don't really have a whole lot of information on this person, which I've noticed lately. I've noticed lately that a lot of mangakas and a lot of illustrators, they don't like to their personal lives be known or much about
them. They don't. I mean, to be fair, would you want to, like, people on the street, like, hey, I know you. You're the fucking boob guy.
You're the goddess of breasts.
You're the guy that draws the titties.
Oh, man. Originally illustrating eroge, Miyama Zero has since moved on to illustrating light novels and card games, such as Lai Si. They also work under the doujinshi circle name Stray Moon, written in English, in which they publish erotic doujinshi. Oh, so I did look this up here. Doujinshi, also romanized as doujinshi, is the Japanese term for a self-published print work such as magazines, manga, and novels, part of a wider category of doujin, self-published works. Doujinshi are often derivative of existing works and created by amateurs, though some professional artists participate in order to publish material outside of the regular industry. Groups of doujinshi artists refer to themselves as a sakuru, or circle. Several such groups can actually consist of a single artist. They are sometimes called Kojin Sakuru, or personal circles. And then there's a lot of different styles, which there are erotic doujinshi. So, okay, I was wrong. This is actually very new to me. I had no idea.
Yeah, okay.
I thought a doujinshi was always like...
It's not a genre. It's the fact that it's like a self-published work, like lesser-known artist sort of thing.
But all I've ever seen about doujinshi were straight up like, erotic. So that was...
Well, that's just because that's what you were looking up.
Why you gotta call me out on here, Brent?
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
But when working as an eroge, sorry, words are hard. Eroge scenario writer, they operate under the name Maya Saromi.
Yep, Maya Saromi. Yeah, so you mentioned earlier about the trading card game. It's pronounced lease, and it's a French word, right? It's a Japanese collectible card game developed by Silver Blitz and published by Broccoli. Fucking cool publisher name, right? This uses characters from a variety of mostly visual novel computer games. Lease is a French word that roughly means high school. Most of the cards are given unique, fan-made artworks. The object of the game is to get one's opponent's 60-card deck down to 0, which is mostly done by attacking with character cards. So it's like, any of the fucking card game shit that we play, except it just sounds like your deck is your life, which is kind of cool. That's how Dragon Ball worked, right? Yeah. Or Dragon Ball GT, at least. No, okay. It was also the Dragon Ball, like the score.
I think so, yeah. Was it?
I thought so.
I think so, because they are compatible.
Yeah. Well, I know for sure GT, like, that was your deck was your life, and if you ran out, then that was over. So, I mean, there was at least, like, a portion there that kind of reminds me of that, but it's kind of interesting.
The synopsis for Highschool DxD.
How big is that synopsis?
Highschool DxD follows the story of Issei Hyodo, a perverted high school student who is killed by a fallen angel on his first ever date. However, he is resurrected as a devil by Rias, a beautiful demon and captain of the school's Occult Research Club, or president of the research club. Issei soon discovers that he has been chosen to be the servant of Rias and is now part of the supernatural world of angels, devils, fallen angels, and other magical creatures. As Issei embraces his new life, he starts to develop his own group of loyal friends and allies within the Occult Research Club.
Wow, group of loyal friends. That's a weird way to say harem.
Oh my god. Issei's whole goal is to have a harem.
Yep.
He wants to be the king of the harems. You know, in other types of anime like this, where the main character is surrounded by a bunch of beautiful women that for some reason all desire him, he's kind of terrified to do anything or make a move on any girl. Not this guy. Nope. This man is just straight up like
He begs for it.
he begs for something. Like,
This is Chainsaw Man before Chainsaw Man.
dude, 100%. Issei and oh my god, I can't remember what the guy's name in Chainsaw Man is because I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah, I don't remember.
They would get along.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's the fucking, like, if Rias will be like, hey, I'll let you fondle me for 5 seconds if you go do, like, something fucking, like, really difficult for me. He's like, fuck yes. And, oh, man, he's fucking off on that shit.
You know,
I mean,
he's made jokes about how, like, while he was, he was being chased by Rias on a bike, he kept saying things like, God, I wish that bicycle seat was my face. You know, this is a man who is not afraid to say what he wants and to fight for what he wants. And what he wants is a harem. And what he wants is to see some nip.
Actually, here, check this out. I got one of my fucking favorite. So I was listening to this, semi-watching while driving my car to and from a place the other day when I went to Dyersville to go fucking get my ass kicked in some One Piece.
Respectable.
Yeah, fucking check this shit out.
Let's slice off his balls!
Want some? Bring it on! Here's my special move! Time to get naked! You ladies like that? Since the first moment my tiny baby man balls dropped, all I ever did was undress girls with my eyes. But now, thanks to lots of hard work and my perverted powers, I just have to imagine you naked and my vision comes true. Try and mess with me? Tops are coming off!
What a freak. Who knows? Maybe his special move will work. Nothing will stop a girl in her tracks like having her clothes magically ripped off.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
My tiny baby man balls dropped.
There are so
funny.
many words and lines he uses in this show that make me laugh because they are just not something you would typically hear from a traditional, protagonist in an anime. There's a lot of, funny references to, dicks, balls, boobs, ass. Like, it's just, it's amazing.
There's one scene in an earlier episode where he gets fucking like kicked in the nuts really hard or something, and
oh yes, he gets kicked. He gets is it the dodgeball one?
Maybe.
I think they're playing dodgeball and he gets a ball thrown into his nuts, and so basically everyone's just like, well, we gotta help Issei. We have to get revenge for his man bits. Aka's like, for his man bits. And then Kiba's like, for his one-eyed snake.
And then fucking, who is it? The fucking, the small white-haired chick.
For his balls.
She goes, yeah, for his sack.
For his sack.
Oh my god, fucking Asya. So we haven't even gotten to her yet, but we'll talk about her. She's Asya was like a lady of the faith,
the church.
Of the church.
She was a nun.
She was, yeah, exactly. She was a nun, and some shit happens, and now she is with this gang of devils and shit, but she has these healing powers. And she's over there with her hands, like, cupping Issei's balls, like, they're just glowing green, and she's like, you guys go get him, I'll take care of Issei. And she's, like, cupping his nuts with her hands.
And the angles they push into this were, like, it looks like they're not subtle. This anime, you need to get your horny stick out, because everyone's getting bonked.
God. Everybody. No one is safe. It's like, if you're one of those people that are like, man, it'd be a real, like, terrible thing if somebody walked in right now and saw what I was watching.
This anime is
not
it.
safe. This is it. Like, it's not bad enough that, like, there's no sex or anything involved. It doesn't show any lower bits. It doesn't
no
show
lower
any
bits.
of that. However,
top only.
You would get a lot of fucking, like, weird stares, and you might lose some friends.
I showed my girlfriend the first episode, and she looked at me a couple minutes
break
in.
Up with you.
Nope. She looked at me a couple minutes in, and she's just like, really? This is what you're doing for the next episode? I'm like, yes. Why? She's like, there's so many boobs. I'm like, and? Your point?
What is wrong with that?
Trying to say something bad about boobs? Boobs are great.
Oh, man.
Everyone loves boobs.
No, so aside from the boobs, this has actually a really good plot. Like,
dude, yes, 100%. It's just like High School of the Dead. It has a really cool plot, a really interesting universe, but they do ham-fist you a bunch of plot. a bunch of opai, a bunch of things like bouncing boobs that have no reason to be bouncing as hard as they do.
Yep.
Like, I 100% agree. And it does suck that shows like that typically get overlooked as, oh, it's just fan service.
Right. Like, if somebody were to actually, like, chop out all of the unnecessary boob scenes and just compress this into just the action, like, fighter anime that it is, it would be fucking great, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be an awkward watch with, like, a bunch of, like, wow, that's weird. How come there's, like, a whole, like, seems like there's, like, 5-10 minutes missing here in this clip. It's like someone cut the episode, be like, oh, yeah, they did. They removed all the boobs. And be like, oh, there's that much boobs? Yeah, there is.
Like, for example, these...
it's in the intro. It's in the outro. You can, before it even starts.
Now, there is a safe version or a clean version. It's just you get gleams of light covering all boobs. And that is really funny, actually.
Everything's just blinding. I didn't know that.
Right. Hey, but like, here's the thing. This show, like I said, has a really cool plot with a lot of really cool characters. The whole demons versus angels versus fallen angels. The characters have really cool powers and fighting styles. And the whole thing of, like, you have the group of characters that are led by Rias, who is essentially the king of her group. Now, every high-ranking devil or demon has what they call the pieces of evil, essentially pieces of like a chess. Like, everything is based around chess.
Yes.
They
you have like your pawns, you have your rooks, and they
your
actually
bishops.
call them by those names.
Yep.
And like, when you know what your role is, that's something they will actually call. So like, there's other groups of devils with their own leaders, and then you'll have those members of those group be like, I'm her rook, or they'll be like, I'm one of her pawns.
Yep.
And they know exactly what their role is.
Exactly. And you have each piece has special traits. The knights are incredibly quick, they're precise, and typically amazing with swords.
Yep.
The rooks are all physically strong, with huge amounts of strength. The bishops are the healers of the group, and of course the queens are the second strongest piece, but essentially getting all the powers of all the other pieces.
Yeah.
Essentially, your queen is your right-hand person of your group.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the pawn, which you think, oh, pawn's super easy, there's a bunch of them. The pawn in this game actually has the ability to gain the abilities and strengths of other pieces if you are far enough into your enemy's territory, or what they deem their territory.
Which is pretty cool. That's really neat.
So you in this group, you have Rias, the leader and the king of her group. We have Akano Himajima, who is the queen, also known as the Thunder Princess, or the Thunder Priestess.
She's badass.
She uses powerful lightning magic. A little bit of a sadist. I like it.
Yep.
Then you have Kiba Yuto. He is one of the only other male characters in the show that actually gets a lot of attention.
Yep.
He is one of the knights of the group. He has a really cool backstory, dealing with the church and the legendary sword Excalibur. His ability allows him to create swords of whatever he needs, of whatever variety, elements, anything like that. Hell, he can make a sword that absorbs light.
Yep.
And light is really harmful to devils, so it's a really cool sword he uses. Next you have Konako Tojo. She is the rook. She's very small, white hair. She is essentially the character based around a lolly, because we gotta reach out to all these demographics here, apparently. She does care about Issei, but she definitely doesn't like his perviness and won't be afraid to, like, hit him or make him feel bad for his his pervy choices.
Good.
And then we have Asia Argento, who is the bishop, the healer of the group. Like we said, a former nun turned demon. Once she was killed by a fallen angel.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Issei Hyodo, our protagonist for the show, and he is the pawn. Now, what's really interesting is typically you have to sacrifice one piece per person when you revive them as a demon. Issei was so strong, apparently, it took all 8. Also, I can't remember if it was like 8 or 10 pieces.
Oh, yeah.
It took all of Rias's pawn pieces in order to revive him.
Yep.
Because he was that strong. Because not only is Issei a pawn, and a pretty powerful pawn at that, he is also the inheritor of the Red Dragon Emperor, which is essentially one of two incredibly powerful dragons in this world that only that basically once so often, how many years, decades, I can't remember how often it is, they will essentially choose a new partner or choose a host.
Yep.
And they will be reincarnated into. His thing is all about passion. And that's D-Drag or D-Drag. He is the Red Dragon Emperor, and his power, he's gifted his power onto Issei in the form of a boosted gear.
Boost!
Which is essentially a really cool red scaled gauntlet that Issei can summon.
Yep.
That allows, every 10 seconds, I believe, it doubles his strength.
Yep.
At first they thought, oh, it's just a twice critical, which is the term they use for a gear that basically
it
doubles your power once. Now this keeps doubling and doubling and doubling to the point where he can also shoot out energy blasts, or just completely knock someone out with a single punch, or his special ability where he snaps his fingers and girls' clothes rip off.
I don't even know if he has to snap his fingers. I think he just does that like Thanos for flair.
He might, you know?
Like, so and I feel like my proof of this is, there is an episode where it shows him training how to use this newfound ability, and they start by peeling potatoes and onions and shit.
Yep.
And he just holds a potato in his hand, and it just pulls the skin off the potato, and he's like, what else can I pull off? And then he starts discovering that he can do it to clothes, and he's like, that's my ultimate ability.
See, he does it in a way that he doesn't like hurting people so much, but he also wants to be able to make them stop fighting him, or at least stop giving it their all. And of course, that's one way to make sure they do not give it their all, because they have to cover themselves with at least one hand.
Oh my god, the episode where they are supposed to go get a familiar.
Oh my god.
And Asya gets like this cute little like purple dragon guy.
Yeah, little lightning dragon.
And so they like go to this forest, and they're trying to, I don't remember what, they have to do they have to make like some sort of bond, and this familiar has to accept it. They come across like a green slime.
Yep.
This giant fucking green slime, and it covers all.
That divides itself into little slimes.
It can divide and conquer, and just like some crazy tentacle monster, it invades all of the girls' privacy and starts to eat away at their clothes. And Issei immediately is like, "That's my familiar. That's what I want.
That's the one I want.
That's the one I want."
Except it doesn't. Instead, with Yuto, with Kiba, he basically just blinds him, so Kiba's over here like, get off my face, you! Yeah. And so everyone else is getting their clothes disintegrated, but Issei's over here like, I love it, this is mine, I have to have it. And then everyone destroys the slime because they're not happy with how perverted it is.
They're like, no, it's evil, it has to be destroyed. And there's like this tiny little like bit of it that's still like alive, and Issei's like, no, we can still save it! Slimy, no! Oh my god, fucking great.
And there are also other supporting characters, like Sir Zex Lucifer, Rias Gremory's older brother, the head of the Gremory household, as well as the leader of Hell.
Excuse me, you said her older brother is Lucifer?
Sir Sex Lucifer. So technically...
like the devil?
The devil. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know how far you got into the show.
Yeah.
But how it works is that he's not the devil, like the original devil. There was a great war that happened. They mentioned it a couple times in the early parts of the show, where a lot of demons, a lot of angels died. That is including the original Lucifer, the original Behemoth.
Oh, there was another one.
There was like all the original angels, all the original devil leaders. Like all of them just died.
Yeah. See, I remember like when they introduce. Not when they introduce Lucifer, but when they first mention his name, Issei goes like, "You mean like the devil? Your brother is the devil?" And they make it sound like he is. I don't think I got far enough to find out that he's not like he just has the same name.
What's up, gamers? Birds and Swords here. I'm Micah.
And I'm Alyssa. As part of the Barn Media Group, we bring you anything and everything from the world of video games.
Are we experts?
No.
But do we play a lot of video games?
Hell yeah, we do.
So come check out our gaming podcast, Birds and Swords, for insight, opinions, top lists, and all the fun that comes with talking about games.
Come laugh with us. Or at us.
So bring your bird and your sword.
Because it's Birds and Swords.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/thebarn. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thebarn.
How it works is that they're called the New Satans. Basically, it's a group of 4 people that took on the name of the 4 previous leaders. For example, we have Ajuka Beelzebub, Serzex Lucifer, Seraphal Leviathan, and Falbion Asmodeus. So basically, they just took on the last names of the original 4 leaders, and they essentially use that as like positions of power. The title Lucifer, Beelzebub, Leviathan, and Asmodeus, these are just titles that they take.
Asmodeus.
They are, just titles that they can take on. They're passed on to the next leader. But Lucifer is like the leader. Like Lucifer is the main one. But he essentially, it is still a group of 4 that come together to essentially judge and make rules for the devils. Same thing with God, actually. God did die in the war, and he is replaced by Michael as the new god. And they do, like, there are actually like councils, like oh my god, what's the right word? Kind of like the United Nations, where like a bunch of leaders from around the world come together. They have something similar in this, where the leaders of hell, the leaders of heaven, the leaders of the fallen angels, the leaders of Greek mythology,
like a board meeting.
Yeah, like they come together as like, you know, a huge gathering of leaders to discuss.
A summit?
Summit. That's the word I'm looking for. Summit. Thank you. There's actually summits that they hold for all these leaders. There's a huge lore in this show with a lot of really cool characters, a lot of really cool factions that unfortunately is overshadowed by the boobs. Like I said, I love me some boobs. Don't get me wrong. But like sometimes they kind of overdo it and it overshadows the really cool plot and characters. There's a scene that actually I saw on TikTok not too long ago. It's later on when the animation style did change, which, like, okay, so I'll just say right now, the animation style does change within season 3 to not my favorite. I'm not a fan of this new animation style, but anyway, basically where Asya is taken captive, and apparently she's been injured pretty badly by some bad villain of the week. Issei goes into a blind rage, and the thing with him is that his connection with the Red Dragon Emperor, it increases his power based on his anger as well. So basically, when Issei sees that one of his close friends, apparently his adopted sister figure in the show, is in pain, is hurting, is close to death, he goes into a blind rage and he starts walking towards this guy. All of his other teammates are near him, and he just exudes this huge shock wave that just ripples the whole area, this huge room. Imagine like a castle throne room. This huge ripple effect, and it's still going. It's like a hurricane in there. And you see him glowing red, and his armor, his scaled gauntlet slowly starts growing over him and starts to cover his whole body. That's one of Issei's other really cool abilities, is like the Berserker suit or the Juggernaut suit, basically where his gauntlet turns into a full suit of armor.
Yeah.
And it increases his power even more on top of the continuous boosts of double strength. And he just goes ham on this guy. Like, he's flying around, smashing him into walls, throwing him, like punching him into the ground. There's so many really cool hype scenes like that.
He does get wings.
He does get wings, actually.
Yep.
That is actually from another dragon. There's actually 2 dragons. There's the Red Dragon Emperor and the White Dragon Emperor. The White Dragon Emperor has the ability when it touches you. Or sorry, his ability is that it cuts your opponent's power in half every 10 seconds, while the red dragon doubles it. So they are a perfect counter to each other.
Yes.
And so they've been at odds for a long time. The red dragon emperor hates the white dragon emperor. But I do believe that eventually do kind of team up, and he does get the wings from him, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's like I said, there's really cool moments. There's really cool fight scenes. Kiba goes through a huge character growth scene where he basically tries to hunt down the people that experimented on him, trying to turn him into the ultimate swordsman capable of wielding one of the fragments of the holy sword Excalibur that got broken into several shards. Each shard was turned into a different sword.
Cool.
And oh god, we'll have to do that one day. I can't wait for that. But you can't wield a sword, a holy sword like that without being incredibly powerful. And then as a human, he apparently wasn't. But as a devil, he's really fucking cool with it, because he actually incorporates one of the holy swords into one of his swords, turning into a half demon, half holy sword that only he can wield. His ability is called Sword Birth. He can, like I said earlier, he can create any sword that he wants to with whatever properties he wants to. That's amazing.
That's pretty cool. Just get past the nudity and see it for what it really is.
I will admit, starting in season 3, they do cut back a lot on the nudity.
Oh, nice. Good.
They do cut back on a lot, and that's one of the things I noticed, is that it seems more focused on the plot, but it also kind of went to the whole like generic like friendship is power thing, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is not what the show was about previously. Like, they do it. There is a pretty huge like tone shift starting with season 3.
There was a storm of friendship coming.
The storm of friendship.
I do want to cover the various voice actors for most of the main cast. For Issei, is it Hyodo?
Issei Hyodo.
Yeah, for Issei Hyodo, we have, and I'm going to shudder here, Scott Freeman. Or
we don't talk about Scott.
Yeah, or Jesse Grell? Is that?
I think so.
That looks how I say it?
Grell.
Yeah. Now, Scott, just like you said, we don't talk about Scott. I am going to talk about Scott, but we don't talk about Scott. Jesse has worked on a huge number of big-ass anime like Attack on Titan, Baka and Test, Black Clover, Dr. Stone, Dragon Ball Super, Haikyuu. There was at least 100, if not more. Jamie, I think it's Marchi, who is Rias Gremory. She's done work in Yu Yu Hakusho, Case Closed, Shin-Chan, which I would love to do Shin-Chan one of these days. Swing and sway, the elephant sway. One Piece, Soul Eater, more Baka and Test, ton more. Terry Rogers plays Akino. Chloe Daniels plays Asia. Felicia Angel plays Konako. We have Christian Lamont, or Lamonte, I think it's Lamont, who plays Yudo. Sean O'Connor plays Azazel. Brittany Karbowski plays Ravel.
Ravel Phoenix.
J. Michael Tatum plays Sir Zex Lucifer. Christopher R. Sabat. There's a name.
Vegeta, Piccolo, All Might, Zoro.
The Sabat, the man himself, plays Issei's boosted gear dragon, D-Drag.
That's amazing.
What's cool about the dragon thing, but also, I mean, okay, it's pretty tropey, where the dragon can communicate with him like an internal voice, just like Naruto, Black Clover, that kind of shit.
Yeah,
there's a thing trapped inside of him. However, this isn't trapped; it chose him for some reason and decided to give him a kick-ass gauntlet. I don't know why.
I mean, like, at first it was a very small little gauntlet, and then it's continuously grown to become stronger and bigger, and now he can basically make a huge suit of armor.
Yep.
And also, I forgot to mention his boosting power. He can apply that to items in his possession as well.
Really?
Like, say he has a thing of holy water, which is horrible to demons and devils.
Yep.
He can boost the effectiveness.
Wow.
He can double the effectiveness of that holy water.
He can send a demon to heaven?
Yep, essentially.
Purify.
Yeah, it is. Oh my god. There are so many different. There's the dividing gear. Yep. Eventually, Issei does get the other gauntlet, the white gauntlet of the White Dragon Emperor, and so he has the double. He's the boosted gauntlet and the dividing gauntlet.
Wow.
So he can cut his
OP. Is
he can double his power, but then half his opponent's power.
Jesus.
It's amazing.
That is absurd.
It's so good. Essentially calling it the Balance Breaker Scale Mail is where he gets his full-on armor. Or then he can turn into the Juggernaut Drive. Essentially, he kind of blurs the lines between a human and a dragon, and he actually takes on more demonic dragon traits while wearing his armor. It's like he actually turns into a half-dragon, half-devil hybrid. It's so cool. Like, there's so much that we could talk about. That the fact that this show has 4 seasons. Apparently, a 5th one was promised back in 2020. Never happened. We haven't heard of much since. They have still said it's coming, but no official date. Though there's a lot of rumor that it's going to be out early 2024.
Wow, early 2024.
Whole 6 years after the season 4 ended.
I wonder how much that'll change. Like, how much will have changed. Like, I'm curious to see where it's going to go.
Right.
Like, it seems like there was such a big shift starting with season 3 that you can only imagine if they're actually going to try to take it in a whole different direction.
Apparently, later on, and like, this might be a slight spoiler, but essentially, Issei gets to a point where he actually is promoted to a high-class devil. And that means he is the same ranking as Rias. So he now is considered a king. And he is given his own pieces of evil to create his own group.
That's
and now
crazy.
we didn't talk about a couple more people who become main characters, like Zenobia, Rias's other knight, a former holy knight turned into a demonic knight. She's really cool. But yeah, Issei gets to be his own king, so he gets his own pieces of evil, and he gets to pick his own crew.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
One last thing that I do want to bring up before we get into wrapping this up here is that like the thing that I think is the craziest shit is that this all started because Issei wanted to go on a date with a hot chick.
Yep.
And this hot chick just happened to be some sort of devil succubus fallen angel. That's what I constantly forget that's what they are called for some reason. And so they like go on this date, and she's supposed to be like this cute girl. And then suddenly she's just like, stab, now you're dying. And he's like, wait, what? And like,
all I wanted was to see some titty.
Yeah.
And then that's really what he says at some point. She's literally transforming into her fallen angel self. She gets naked for some reason, puts on this leather outfit. And as she's transforming, he says, I see Nip. I saw it. He's not scared. He's just like, I saw some titty.
Yeah, right? And then like he has that realization. He's like, wow, I'm dying for titties.
And he's like, you could have at least let me fondle you before I died.
Jesus,
man
that's
knows
ridiculous.
what's important to him.
So, on to the thing that we don't talk about that I'm going to talk about real quick was about Scott, who originally played Issei. So Scott was initially reported to have retired from voice acting in April of 2015 due to personal circumstances. However, he was jailed for 3 years in September of 2015 for possession of CP, and his relationship with Funimation was terminated.
As it should be.
I can't believe he lived through prison.
Jesus. Yeah,
I'm surprised somebody didn't just fucking shank him in there.
Those people don't last. They don't
come back out. Long story short, Scott's a piece of shit.
Scott is a piece of shit. Fuck you, Scott.
Fuck Scott. He's an ass. You know what? I might even bleep out his name, so they'll be like, who are you talking about? Every time I say Scott, it's just gonna be beep. It's beep, beep, and he's erase him from existence.
You know what? I can understand. It'd be a little weird, but like to know who we want to know. We want people to know Scott's an asshole.
Yep. Now, Phil, take us away.
So, a little bit about Ishibumi real quick. Ishibumi had previously worked on a horror genre series 2 years prior to the publishing of the first light novel of Highschool DxD. In the Volume 1 Afterlife, he mentions that he changed his writing style and wanted to develop one in the school life, love comedy, battle, and fantasy genre. His main character, Issei, was made into a lecherous guy at the request of his editor. For the first volume, he made Rias a second lead character and heroine, and Asya to be the second heroine. Some of his characters are loosely referenced from the Bible, nonfiction books, and mythology. He created a world where the war between the three main factions, angels, devils, and fallen angels, is over, and there are many famous angels and devils have already ceased to exist. He also added characters and legendary beasts from a variety of places from Norse mythology to Japanese yokai. The concept of Balance Breaker was to represent a super-powered version of the character's boosted gear. He likens it to the Super Saiyan form in Dragon Ball and the Bankai in Bleach. Ishibumi intended to make the shonen-style light novel series that teenagers would be embarrassed to buy, yet was concerned that it might get an age restriction. In each of his afterward sections in the light novels, he makes numerous references to oppai, aka breasts, and notes that when he tries to make his characters more erotic. You know, it's actually, this series is banned in New Zealand.
Really?
Yeah. It's too horny. New Zealand can't handle it.
Wow, New Zealand, that must suck to be you. That's a lame party, bro.
How dare they?
I can't believe they would do that. How dare they take away the wonders of boobs from their people? They don't know what they're missing.
Yeah, they don't know nothing.
Yeah, nope, they don't know shit about shit.
Oh man, but we talked a lot about the characters, the story. I say, watch this show when no one else is in the room. Or, you know what? Do what me and Brent did. Watch it together. Because then it doesn't make it weird.
or does it?
I don't think so. It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know. You just, every time a boob shows up, be like, high five, bro.
High five, bro. See,
we did it.
My girlfriend even looked at me. She's like, God, you are so ridiculous. You were this horny as a kid? I'm like, yes.
Yes, I was. What do you mean as a kid?
Now, you probably have seen pictures of Rias and Akeno as body pillows at your normal anime conventions. Like, these girls are surprisingly popular, even if you don't know who they are. You have more than likely seen them. It's just facts at this point.
Yeah.
But overall, I really do like the show. And speaking of, the reviews for Highschool DxD, or out of 1,300 reviews, 1,300 on Google,
Damn.
we have a 4.9 out of 10. Sorry, 4.9 out of 5. Shut up.
That's a 50%
Damn.
hot garbage.
Sorry. 4.9 out of 5. I'm used to out of 10 rating. Shut up. IMDb gives us a 7.6 out of 10. Sometimes my dyslexia doesn't work. Let's see here. Here's one review by Giancarlo Laura. Here we go. This show was amazing to watch. The first 2 seasons were really great, but my only issue with the show was season 3. To me, it seemed kind of off compared to the rest of the seasons. This was basically my only flaw with the show. Other than that, I really recommend you give this a watch. Only beware, you'll be greeted with topless women for some segments for the episodes in all seasons. Overall, it's a really good show that has an interesting story, amazing characters, and great romance. I really hope we get season 5, and there will be more romance between Issei and Rias, since we don't really get enough of their relationship as one would have hoped, but it's still a very good season to watch.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us today here at our lovely podcast. I hope you enjoyed it.
In the Zen Den.
Hope you enjoyed it. I had a good time.
I always have a great time with
I have
you,
a
Brent.
pretty good time here. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you so much to Schminkadelic, where you can catch more of his Dance and Trance on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want something that's going to make you jiggle your tits, that's going to be the shit you want right there. It's going to make you grow them and show them.
I agree. Maybe with that last part. Also want to thank some of our friends of the show, supporters that have helped out with advertising.
Yep.
We got First Turn Games here in our local town.
Video games, etc. too, right?
Yep.
VGE.
Yeah, VGE. If you want to buy some used pre-owned video games or just buy games in general.
One of the
awesome.
last bastions in Iowa. Better shit than the big Fortune 500 company that we shall not name.
Yeah, that we used to work for.
Lame Shop is what we'll call them.
Yeah.
I don't
Lame Shop.
Yeah, they died. They're dying. Just let them die.
Right.
They practically don't even sell games anymore.
Pretty much.
They need to change their
I go in there and I'm like, where are the games? The shelves are bare.
But where? It's a barren wasteland. I also want to thank the barn and everybody at the barn for supporting our podcast. Thank you so much for having us on your network. And you can check out other great podcasts like Vulgar Display of Podcast, Birds and Swords, Knuckleball Prime Time, many others. Just some amazing podcasts on here with the whole crew. And last but not least, I want to thank BetterHelp.com for sponsoring our episode, where you can use code THEBARN at checkout to save 10% off your first month of service.
Mm-hmm. Mental health is very important, and if you've ever been needing or wanting to talk to someone about that, this is your perfect opportunity to do so.
Yep. You know what else is also helpful for that mental state is boobs.
Boobs. Everyone likes boobs.
Everything. Boobs solve everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we do. Hey, thanks everybody for listening once again. This has been the Men of Zen. My name is Boobs. I mean Brent.
And I'm Tits. I mean Phil.
And I'm Tits McGee.
All right. We out of here in the Zen den.
All right. Thanks everybody for listeting. Stay tits. Shit. Stay.
Damn it.
Stay boot.
Stay
shit.
ass. I mean Zen.
Stay. Damn it. Tits. Stay tits.
For more media entertainment podcasts like the one you just heard, check out The Barn. Anime, music, sports, and video games, The Barn has everything that you need.